Well, let's continue our discussion now on the Joe Biden presidency and the African continent. Let's go live now to the Gambian capital, Banjul, as the party leader and presidential flag bearer of the Citizens Alliance political party of the Gambia, Dr. Ismaila Ceesay, joins us now. Dr. Glad to have you join us.
Good afternoon and greetings from the Smiling Coast. It's a pleasure.
Smiling Coast, that's interesting. That's interesting. So, what's your impression of the Biden's presidency, Biden/Kamala Harris presidency?
Well, first of all, we congratulate Biden and Harris for the victory and for the inauguration yesterday. We hope that, yes. Can you hear me?
Go on, yeah, we can hear you.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, go on, we can hear you.
Yes, I said we first of all congratulate Biden and Harris for the victory and for the inauguration yesterday, and we hope this will be. Can you hear me?
Just go on.
Hello.
There's a delay. Don't say anything.
Hello.
I hear you now.
Yes, we hope this will be a new era for foreign policy, America's foreign policy towards Africa as well. So we are looking forward to a more friendly, more proactive foreign policy from America under Biden's leadership.
Okay, it seems there's a delay, so we hope you can catch up with us as we carry on. So the main thrust rather of the message behind the Biden, message was unity. We can work together. Where does Africa come in the midst of all of that? The role of Africa at this time?
Well, the role of Africa will be very minimal. I mean, we have also our own problems in Africa. We have our own realities. I think the vision, the political divide in America can only be solved by Americans themselves. So I don't think Africa can really play a significant role in that respect because we have our own issues, we have our own domestic problems, we have our own domestic divisions. So obviously, the division in America is an American political problem, and I think the American government, the new government, Biden will work hard to make sure that division is really solved.
Yeah, this relates to Africa as well as, of course, the Biden presidency. Do you buy the idea that the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Agreement may be the last opportunity, as it were, for Africa's economic transformation? And how will this agreement impact trade in Africa?
Well, I wouldn't say it's the last opportunity. I know for sure that it's a huge opportunity for Africa. However, you have to understand disparities in African economies. So this free trade agreement might favor some countries, especially the bigger countries that do more trade, that are more industrially developed than smaller countries that are not industrially developed. However, it's a new era for Africa insofar as trade is concerned. One of the problems we've been having in Africa is the volume of trade, inter-African trade volume, obviously. We've been trading very less with each other and trading more with the outside world, and I think that has been a problem. But if we are able to harness this free trade agreement and be able to support each other, especially smaller African economies, to support each other and promote more inter-African trade, I think that would be useful. I think it will also help us create new partnerships with America, with the EU, and with the UK as well, insofar as trade is concerned. But more so, what we want to focus on more inter-African, how it can promote inter-African trade between the African countries, which has been very minimal because of infrastructure, because of poor trade policies among African states, and so on and so forth. So I think it will be very helpful in that respect.
All right, let me follow up on that particularly. You are almost getting into what I wanted to ask, and that is the fact that what role do you see this playing in relation to the Biden presidency? Does it in any way give Africa a better bargaining stance in dealings with America and then, of course, the rest of the world?
If implemented to the fullest, if African countries, if political will is there, and African countries are ready to work hand in hand, to work jointly, to collaborate, and come up with common policies, then it will work. It will help Africa and give us a better negotiation position. What we've observed in the past years, especially with the coming of China, is that in most cases, most of these big partners have a policy in how to strategically engage most of our individual African countries. But the African continent lacks a coherent common policy in how to engage most of these big partners, and that is a problem that has been a problem for Africa. It puts us in a very disadvantageous position. So obviously, free trade obviously is a continental free trade thing. Most of the countries are there, except a few. If we are able to implement the principles and the spirit and the technicalities of this free trade in full, and there's the political will on the part of African governments to approach it in a coherent, cohesive manner, I think it will give Africa a very strong advantage on the negotiating table, but also when it comes to trade, trading of goods and services.
Okay, Mr. Ceesay, you mentioned that there's a lack of infrastructure. You also mentioned the lack of political will. But could we try and get behind all of that and say, is there a lack of belief in Africa amongst Africans? Why do we so readily trade with the outside rather than amongst ourselves when other countries are coming to us and wooing us, so to speak? So you have China, you have Russia, and possibly America. Why do we believe less in ourselves and more in the outside world?
There has been a problem in Africa since independence. We are made to believe that everything that comes from Africa, or everything that is indigenous of Africa, is not worthful. And that still is in our psyche. We believe that we are not good. We cannot do things. We don't believe in ourselves, and that everything that comes from outside is what is good. Now, what has been the case is that I think the potential in Africa has not been really utilized to its fullest. The world needs Africa more than we need the rest of the world, the UK, the Russians. But now we've seen that is not the case. We buy everything from the West and from Asia. Everything we need comes from outside. I think it's time for us to believe in ourselves. I think you have to also put the colonial history and the colonial experience as well. The colonial history, the colonial experience, the experience of imperialism, the whole issue of decolonization around that. What we are made to believe is that even our names are not good enough. They are primitive. Our religions were primitive. Everything was, they have to baptize us. They have to change us, change our names and give us new religions and civilize us through education. I think that psyche is still in our psyche, and it will take a new generation of Africans to really remove that from our psyche, extricate it, and believe in ourselves and believe that we have everything. Well, we need to develop and transform the African continent, and that requires new thinking, a paradigm shift insofar as development thinking is concerned, new thinking, and I believe in ourselves that we can do it. We need to educate that new breed of Africans to create those Africans that can be able to change that whole dynamic.
We wish you the best as you lead your alliance party in contesting for presidency in the Gambia. Thank you so much, Dr. Ceesay, for being on.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you.